is we're going to use the Hanby field test kit. This is the steps that we're going to do. We're going to pour the water sample into the SEP funnel, then we're going to add the extraction solvent, then we're going to swirl the separatory funnel around so that the extract solvent can pull the hydrocarbon out of the water sample. We're going to set it back in the 3-ring stand and let the solvent that has performed the extract separate to the bottom. Then we're going to decant that into a scribed test tube. Then we're going to add the catalyst, cap and shake, and then compare it to the picture to see the concentration level of the hydrocarbon that's in the water sample. So here, these are the 2 water samples that we did earlier. This water sample here, this orange is the pre-treatment. The more clear water sample here is the post-treatment. So the first step in the process, obviously, is getting your water sample. So we're going to take our SEP funnel and introduce our water sample. So we're going to pour that in. And then, once you have your water sample, you're going to add your extract solvent. Add our extract solvent. As you can see immediately, it's heavier than water, so it's already separated down to the bottom, which is because the extract solvent is so much heavier than water. That is why we have to do our extraction process by shaking to do the extraction process. So we're going to shake it here. We're basically breaking up that solvent into little tiny balls, and those balls are increasing the surface contact of that hydrocarbon contamination, that water sample, and the hydrocarbon is attaching to that solvent. So we're doing the extraction process. Sometimes a little pressure will build up, so we release that pressure. You want to swirl it to do the extraction process for 2 minutes to make sure you get a total extraction of that hydrocarbon contamination. And we're going to let that sit for a few minutes to do the separation here at the bottom. While we're doing that, we're going to go ahead and start on our next water sample by introducing the water sample into the SEP funnel. Again, grabbing our extract solvent. Introducing the extract solvent. Capping that SEP funnel. And shake to do the extraction process. Breaking up that solvent again into little tiny balls to do that extract. Release that pressure. You saw that pressure build up from shaking. Sit and separate. Wow, crazy. Some highly contaminated stuff you got there, because I've never seen it like that.
Really?
So, the scribed line on the test tube represents 4.2 milliliters, of which we put 5 mils of extract solvent in. So, since we put in 5 mils of extract solvent and we're going to decant off about 4.2, there's not a whole lot of cushion. It's only 0.8 cushion. It's better to stop short of that line than to let it go too much and let water through, because we don't want water to come through. In the event that you do let water through, we have a solution for that as well. So we're going to decant off now. So we're going to watch that as it drops into the test tube up to the scribed line. And then I've seen something like this before where it's very, very thick. What we'll want to do is, since we didn't get even really close to that scribed line, is we'll want to just shake again. Let it separate again. Notice on this one over here, we got a nice separated layer. We got a nice crystal clear layer of the solvent.
Yeah.
That alone is, before we even do our analysis, just the extract solvent, that alone is telling you got a very clean sample. When the solvent is still clear like that, that's indicated of a clean sample. When the solvent is very, very dark, as it was in decanting here, and it's still reaccumulating there, very, very dark orange, that is indicative of a very, very highly contaminated sample. So we know, I'm telling you right now already, I know your product worked, or your method worked, because this solvent is so clear. So we will decant a little bit more here. Okay, so for now, we're going to say that's close enough for us on that particular extraction. And we're going to go on to the next one. Come over to this guy. Just for grains, we're going to cap and shake again, see if we can get some more separation. Just to give us a little bit more of the extract solvent. Let it sit for a second. Yeah, we're starting to get a little bit more separation there, some more clear solvent. Better to stop short of the line than to let the water come through. So we've got enough extraction solvent to get an indication of what's there. So we're just going to stop the way it is. So again, we haven't even run our analysis yet by adding the color development reagent and developing color, but just seeing the color of that solvent, we know that the process has worked and removed the hydrocarbon, because it's not in the solvent on the, what was the post-treatment, the clear one.
Yes.
So now we will continue onward. Now, what I was talking about is stopping short of that scribed line to keep water from coming through, is because water and our color development reagent, aluminum chloride, don't like each other. This is anhydrous. It's measured out in a glove box to stay anhydrous or dry. It's also kept in a jar with silica gel to stay dry. So we don't want water to come through from the SEP funnel. That's why you stop short of the line. An easy way to test to see if you've got any water that came through is you can take your extract and tilt it back and forth like this. And if any water did, you'd see water droplets on the side. There's a couple little droplets there, nothing of concern. We're seeing if you see large droplets there or macro amounts of water, then you've got water there, and it'll just make your, when you add that color development reagent, it'll poof a little bit. No big deal. It's not really going to affect the chemistry of what's going on. Just for some people that are unfamiliar with that, it may cause them a little bit of, hesitation. So next step in the process would be to add the color development reagent catalyst, and we'll actually see if we have any water there, because there'll be a little smoke and a little poof. And there might be. Nope. So we're good here. Also, our as you can see, I spilled a little bit on my finger there. The only thing you could possibly do is not get all the catalyst from the vial into the test tube. You could spill some like I did, or leave some still in the vial. That actually errs on the high side. In the event that you don't get all the catalyst transferred over the test tube, less catalyst going into the test tube is going to produce a darker result, which means higher concentration reading. So it errs on the high side or the conservative side. So. Also, the chemistry is such, and it's sound, that as soon as you put that in there, we haven't even shaken it yet, and you can see a little bit of colors develop. It's not crystal clear like it started like here. So there is a little bit of contamination still in there, not much, because we haven't even shaken it to develop the color yet, and you can see it's still pretty near white. But all you do is you shake this for 15-20 seconds to get a fully colored development, to know what your concentration level is. Still pretty near white, a little bit of brown tint to it, not much. Same thing here, tilt it back and forth. If any water came through, there's a couple of droplets there, so it may be a little bit of water in there. The simple thing is that if there is, the simple way to do that, and I'm gonna go ahead and do it just in case. I'm not concerned about what I think might be a little bit of water droplets in there. I'm only doing this to show you guys the process. In the event that there is some water in there, all you do is you get a second test tube, and you transfer your extract into that second test tube. And water is hydrophilic. It likes to stick to glass. So any water that was there will stick back in that original test tube. So that's the simple process there. So now we're gonna go, that next step is add the color development reagent. As you can tell, there's no way in the world that's gonna be white. So we did get a little bit of water. You saw that little smoke where, so we did get a little bit of water into our deal. All that's gonna happen is gonna smoke like that a little bit because you're hydrating this catalyst, and also you can get a little heat on the test tube. The test tube might heat up a little bit. So what I know that is going on there is that flocculant has come through a little bit. It's no big deal. Notice the
green?
Yeah, it's green and it's kind of puffing up a little bit. So anyway, what you can tell from this is you started with a very highly contaminated sample. As you know, your production water from the Eagle Ford was very contaminated. And then after running your process, you're very, very clean. So, but yeah, it's a little bit warm down there. But right there, I mean, this is the process. So if we wanted to compare it to a calibration photo, since we know that this is Eagle Ford Shale, I would say the light, sweet, crude photo would be a good one to compare it to. So I would say that you're starting with something in the 45 ppm range of crude oil in water, and you've got this thing down to somewhere between 0.5% and 1%. You see that? So I've got those sitting in the calibration photo about where they would fall. So you've got your starting concentration was about 45 ppm crude oil in water, and then after you cleaned it, you got it down to between the 0.5% and 1%, which is I'd call it about 0.75% or 0.75 ppm. So very good job. We validated that your product works. Just done it.